Welcome. My name is Catherine Jones, and I'm delighted to be introducing you to a new resident here at Epworth Villa, and his name is Jerry Johnson. Welcome, Jerry. I'm so pleased that you agreed to do this because people need to know about you.
Well,
and welcome to Epworth Villa.
I thank you for inviting me to be here and to do this and get to know you girls and all. And it's a very nice place so far.
Great, great. How long have you been here?
I had an anniversary Tuesday of 3 weeks.
Oh my gosh, you really are new.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was a whole month or something.
Well, this next Tuesday will be a month.
A whole month. Well, good
Yeah.
for you. Well, that's the toughest part is that first month.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
So, you grew up in Oklahoma City?
I was born and raised here in Oklahoma City.
Wow. Wow. And tell us about, you have family members?
I have an excellent family, and my mother and dad got married, and before they got married, they bought a lot over here on Guilford Lane, which is right off of Britton Road in Hefner.
Oh, okay.
And built a little house there. And
Was it kind of out in the country then?
oh yeah, it was way out in the country then. And I remember it had a little ice station up at the corner of May Avenue and Britton Road at the time, just one little service station. And other than that, it was all farms. And so we grew up right in the farm country out here, wheat fields and all that. And then the time I got to the 6th grade, I went to West Nichols Hills grade school. And the time I got to the 6th grade, I remember I knew they were building a house. And I believe that was in 1952. And Mom told me, she said, well, okay, we're moving today, so that when you go to West Nichols Hills today, when you get out, you come the other way.
We're not hiding from
and
you.
they built another house at 1708 Guilford. I lived there till I got married and went to John Marshall High School.
Good.
Spent 1 year at Oklahoma Military Academy.
In Claremore?
10th year. I decided I wanted to go, and so they let me go up there.
I know a lot of people who have gone there. They loved it.
And I went up there, and I really didn't care for it that much.
Oh.
It was a great school and all that. It just wasn't for me.
So after military academy, what did you do?
Well, I came back here and finished up at John Marshall High School.
Oh, very good.
I went there after the 6th grade and then graduated there in 1961. And then
Came back, so I love John Marshall.
yeah, John Marshall Bear. And then
okay.
I came back and then I went to OSU and got a degree in mechanical technology from OSU.
Oh.
And that was my field, was mechanical stuff and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so that got me through. I had a little body shop when I was 21 years old over off of class, and it was just a little hole in the wall. And I did body work. I started doing body work and everything when I was about 12 years old. I bought my first little motor scooter overhaul and rebuild and sold it. And
you just had that natural tendency.
Yeah, and a funny story was about that. The kid across the street had one when he knew, when he got it brand new. And I always liked that little scooter, a little Cushman. And so 2 years later, he got him a car. And he had him on Ashes over there working on. I went over one evening and I said, well, you want to sell that scooter there? And he said, yeah. And he said, he'd take $50 for it. And I said, oh, I don't have that much money.
That was a lot of money then.
And so finally got him down to $35. Well, I had $25 saved up from mowing lawns. So I went over to my dad across the street. I said, Dad, I need to borrow $10 off of you. And he looked at me like I was crazy. 12 years old. And he just looked at me like I was nuts. He said, for what? And I said, well, I'm going to buy this kid's motor scooter across the street. He said, well, your mom won't let you have a motor scooter. I said, I can make some money on it. He said, well, that's different. And he whipped $10 out on it and gave me $10. Well, I took that $35 over and bought it and took it home, cleaned it up, rode around. They wouldn't let me ride on the street, but I rode the heck out of it out in the yard. And a couple weeks later, I turned around and put an ad in the paper and sold it for $95. And paid my dad back the 10. And that's where I actually got started buying and selling and fixing stuff.
And you were 12.
12 years old. And I just went on from there.
Was that your plan?
No. I had no plan at all. All I knew is in school, I didn't like to pay attention in school. I just, sit around there daydream about what I was going to do when I got out of school, basically. But I always messed with bicycles and motor scooters. And as time went on, I had several motor scooters when I was a kid. Mother finally lost her battle on that.
Did she ever ride one of yours?
No.
Oh, I just thought I'd check. Yeah.
She did not like them.
Wow.
No. But then I started working on cars. My dad bought and sold late model wreck cars. And so I'd go down there and hang around there. And then I worked in some salvage yards after I was about 16 years old, working salvage yards down in South Robinson in the summertime. And I'll never get how hot it gets down there in the summertime with all those old cars and junk and metal down there and that sun beating down. It was just awful. But anyway, I worked.
That heat didn't change your mind about the business?
Well, it could have, but it was tough. But that's where I learned to do body work on cars. But there's body shops around there, and I hung around those guys there and just picked it up naturally. And so I started doing body work. And then, so when I was 20 years old, I put a little body shop in up on Classen Traffic Circle. And I used to do it in my mother's garage, but that became a no-no after I ruined everything. It was in a freezer one time, painting in there.
Ooh.
So I had my own little body shop over on Classen, and then I wound up putting myself through school on that. And I got married during that time. We got married at 20. And so it got me by, and then I started rebuilding wrecked cars.
With no formal training? No formal training?
No.
Wow.
Well, other than in my mechanical technology schooling.
Oh, sure.
That went through everything on automotive. I mean, it went through plumbing, it went through electricity, it went through drafting. I had to have a drafting class. I mean, there was a front end class and a lot of stuff I didn't know I was going to get into. It was a lot of work, but anyway, I got it done. And then I got to building wrecked cars. And my dad was buying these wrecked cars, late model ones that weren't hurt very bad.
Yeah.
And I'd buy one off him and fix it up and turn around and sell it and make a little profit on it, And so I did that for about 3 or 4 years. And then he got in the airplane business.
Oh.
And started buying.
Had he ever flown?
Well, he had flown a little bit, but he didn't have a license or anything. He started out there at Wiley Post Old Airport out there on May Avenue years ago. And Mother didn't, after the kids come along, she said, hey, you quit that flying, so he had to quit flying. But after he got in the airplane business, he started flying again. And he started doing pretty well in it and making this money. And he was showing me, I'm still working on these wrecked cars. And I thought, well, dang, that's, so it just happened. He had a little shop out there that he couldn't run. He didn't know how to run it. But he could buy and sell and all that.
He just wasn't into fixing them.
Yeah, he's a suit and tie.
Ooh, okay.
That type of guy. And so he told me he wanted me to come work for him and run his shop. I said, I don't know a thing about an airplane, really, And he said, hey, you'll learn, believe me. So I went out there and sure enough took over the shop for me. I had about 3 people working there. And they were just playing around, not doing anything, without being supervised. And I had to clean them out eventually and just start all over again. And but I had to get some stuff he already had in there. And he come to me after about 3 or 4 weeks. He said, when you get this thing done, I'm just going to shut it down. And said, but you can work for me. You don't have to worry about the job. But I knew what I'd be doing. I'd be driving a truck, going out picking up airplanes and all the back end. And that wasn't for me. And I said, well, how about I just buy your shop? And he said, well, okay. So,
had that ever been in your mind to do that?
No.
It just
happened. The
happened.
thing in the world. I tell you, it had to come up above, I'm telling you. I could have never done this. So my dad he was still buying and selling airplanes, and I bought one off of him and got it back there, and I had 2 guys working for me. And I had them rebuilding it, and I was just learning and going around and checking things out. Well, I bought it and fixed it up and sold it. Well, while I had it, I started flying it some, and he helped me fly it and taught me a lot about flying. Well, then I bought another one, and then I started doing real good. I worked myself up within a year to a twin engine Baron. I mean, I just caught it, and I happened to buy this Baron off this guy that knocked the nose gear out of it and got both props and everything, you know. And
you had never done any of this?
No, never done it. And
then you agreed to fly in it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, long story short, I wound up fixing that Baron and everything and made good money on it when I sold it. And I was just really starting to go good. But during the time of fixing this Baron up, I was going home from the shop down there, and he had his office up there at his house, and there was a gas pump out here. And he had this airplane that he was putting gas in, and he stopped me, and he said, hey, I sold this airplane to a guy down here in eastern Oklahoma. He said, if you want to, and he had another real nice Mooney that he said, if you want to take my Mooney and fly it down there, because I had my, I don't think I had my license at the time, but I had my.
What's a Mooney?
Airplane.
Oh, okay.
It's a single engine airplane, 4 passengers.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, four passenger
Okay.
airplane. He had this little Mooney, and that's what he had bought too. He was selling one. It was an older one, and so he said, well, you could follow me down there and bring me back. And I said, Dad, I got so much going on here, and I had that Baron, I was all enthused in, and I had a bunch of parts. I said, a bunch of parts came in for it. I need to pick those up first thing in the morning, get those out here, this, that, and the other. He said, well, that's no problem. He said, they'll bring me back. So he got the money and left to take it down there. Well, it was a windy day and everything, and he hit probably a wind shear, and it broke the tail off of that airplane, and he crashed and was killed in it. Now, here I am, I lost my dad, and here I am. I'd only been working about a year in the airplane business, but I'd gained it, and I'd got, either he had my license or I went ahead and got it real quick then. And so he really didn't have, he just had about 2 or 3 airplanes there, but he didn't have them. He was real bad managing money, really, to be honest with you. But he always made good money, we always had money. But anyway, so I wound up having to take over his business and mine. And so
and to deal with all of it, too.
Yeah, and I turned it into one. And within 3 years, I outgrew that little hangar, which was at Sundance Airport now.
Oh, yes, Piedmont.
But it was Richards Field then. It only had one little hangar, and it was a dirt strip. And it was only about a half mile long, and that's what I learned to fly off of and everything. And that's, so I outgrew that hangar in about 3 years, and I got a chance to move over to Page Airport, which is Yukon Airport, but they changed the name to Page. And they had a brand new hangar up there, and it all paved runway, and it belonged to the city. And they had some old hangars, Army hangars down there a little bit. And they wound up getting the government to come in and put a runway down to those Army hangars. Well, I'm out there in about 5 years, but they never used it for anything, and it just sit there. Well, I'm out there, and after about 5 years out there, I outgrow that hangar up there. I'm thinking about I'm going to have to find something bigger. Well, they came out to see me one day at half Oklahoma City Airport over here, come out to see me, and they said, have you ever thought about getting a bigger hangar? And I said, yes, I have. They said, well, the government is forcing us, because they spent a lot of money getting a runway down there and everything, and it's not being used. And said they want to convert one of those big hangars down there into a nice modern type hangar. Would you be interested in taking it over? And I said, well, yeah. They said, we'll make you a heck of a deal on it. And they really did. So I went down there and looked at it. Of course, it was full of engine. It had this grease stuff constantly, and they call it, it dripped out of these old engines. They were brand new, but they were from the war.
Oh,
and they were
yeah.
Constantly, and they spray on them real thick to put them on a ship and ship them overseas for the airplanes over there, the bombers and stuff. Well, this Page had bought those back at government surplus after the war and just had them stored out there. And I said, man, it was just completely full of these little aisles you could walk down. It had those old Army, just single bulb lights and stuff. I said, well, you'd have to rewire this whole building. You'd have to insulate it. You'd have to do this. You'd have to do that. You'd have to clean this floor and clean it. And inside paint it, put all new lights and infrared heat in here. But, well, they just kept shaking their head. Yeah, we'll do that.
And you thought, what am I doing?
And they said, if you'll build the offices over in the lean-to, and I said, they said, we'll do it. Let you have it $400 a month on a 20-year lease. Now,
What?
but I had to build the offices.
Yeah.
So, well, back that time was, I think I spent close to $30,000 building offices, which was a lot of money at that time. I built a house right after that, right after that, I built my house out here that I lived in Ski Island for $45,000 and lived in it for 50 years before we moved over here.
Wow.
But,
We could do this whole airplane thing for a long time, and I want to do that another time.
Okay.
But I want to quickly, before they throw us out.
Okay.
Tell me about your family. Like, do you have brothers and sisters?
I had 3 sisters.
Okay.
You had Jan, Jerry, Judy, and Jill, all the J's.
Okay.
And Jan Smith,
Yes.
married Dr. Richard Smith now, and which lived here and have for 3 years. Lived out here in the cottage. And that's my sister and brother-in-law.
Very good.
And they got me coming over here for the last 3 or 4 years for Christmas and Thanksgiving. I got coming over here and looking around, and sure enough, it worked out for me. And I just lucked into another deal. They came over, and I come over and looked around, and I've got 2 little poodles, and I wasn't going anywhere without them. And they
Good.
made me a deal that I could put a doggy door in, and I was on the first floor down there. And so put that in, and then I got telling them before that, they kept talking about a wood shop they have down here.
I was going to ask you about your kindness with that.
So they have a wood shop down there. Well, that sort of impressed me. Well, wood shop and metal shop go together. I mean, in high school, every high school had a wood shop and metal shop.
Oh, okay.
And I took every class they had in that, wood shop and metal shop. And so I said, I want to see that wood shop. So Kevin took me down there to show it and walked in there, and it's just a beautiful wood shop. Big, nice, everything. But it had no metal shop. Well, we're walking around in there, and we walk over to the end of the building there, and there was a garage door there, up in the garage door there, and he opens that up, and there's just pile of furniture and stuff jumped in there, you know. And I just looked at it and didn't think much of it, and he reached over and flipped the button, and a big fan come on. And I knew where the lights were placed there. I said, that's a paint booth. I said, y'all got a $30,000 paint booth in here that's full of wood and junk. I said, that's ridiculous.
It's a real expensive storage shed.
Exactly. And I said, man, I need a place to work down here. We can make a metal shop out of this thing. And I said, I'll make you a heck of a deal, because it's right in front of 2 doors. I mean, one, the open, big overhead door, and there's 2 spaces ahead of that. And they have both sides of the drive-in up to that just full. You couldn't even get a car in there. You might be able to get a car in there, but it'd be real tight. And just full of junk wood. And people had given them scrap wood and stuff. And I said, you'd have to clean that up for me, and the paint booth, and I'd bring all my equipment over here and start a metal shop out here and paint shop out here, and be able to do a lot of y'all's work for you and everything. And I said, and I'd make you a really good deal on it. And they jumped right on that. And so by the time I moved in, they had cleaned up the paint booth. And when I moved over here, I just brought all my stuff out of my garage and put it in there. And now, around the first of the month. It's not gonna be a retail shop or anything, it'll be for people around here, people I know, and just like.
Like little projects I might like for you to do?
Exactly.
Okay.
I know there's other people here too that would be interested.
Would like
in
to
this.
do it.
So they got real interested in that and really gung ho for it.
I thank you again
You're welcome.
so very much.
You're
And we're
welcome.
going to have great fun with this.
All right, yeah, we'll do it.
Thanks.
All right, thank you very much.